Oh, there'll be no meeting in the Championship or League One for another year between Swansea and Wrexham. Swansea are safe. Congratulations. Finally, Richard, it's over. You can breathe. How are you feeling?
Oh, such a relief. Yeah, like you said, last week, coming in, you've got a few kind of niggles. You're thinking, oh, what's going to happen here? Great win at Stoke. Not such a great win against Rotherham, but, 6 points. You can't ask for more than that at the end of the day. And like you say, we can put that to bed now and just try and finish as strong as we can for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's so nice and well done, Swansea. We obviously we need Swansea in the league, don't we? And since January, I think we've had this weekly conversation on this channel of could Swansea go down, and to your credit, you have said we will be all right. We will be fine. Has there been points? Was there ever a point in the last month where you've been to a game when you think, oh, do you know what, this might happen?
We never quite went into the like bottom three or like a couple of points. It was always about 5, 6 points, so it never was quite there. But there was times where the performances weren't great. But I always knew we had a little bit of quality left in the team. A few players to match win. So it's been a tough season. We've gone through a couple of managers, but it's all about rebuilding now. And under
Yeah.
Luke Williams, I think we got the right man anyway.
Cool. Well, welcome back to the Swans View. We are here to preview what is a massive game now for Huddersfield. We previewed this fixture, didn't we, about a month ago, saying you don't want to go into this fixture needing anything from it. So, but Swans will have integrity. They will treat this like any other game. I'm sure they're not going to be on the beach, are they?
No, definitely not. And this is always a hard match to play as well. There's never that many goals in it, in particularly recent times. I tell you what will happen is we'll have a lot of possession because I think the last three games I was looking, I think it's been 75% possession for the Swans in each of the games, but doesn't necessarily mean a result. We were behind for a long time in the home match, and we got a late equaliser in that one. So they'll make it hard, and it'd be very similar to Rotherham. If we'll have chances, and if we score early, I think we might go on and get a couple. But if not, it'll just be a long, drawn out game, and I think Huddersfield will be battling for every point they're going for. Yeah, so yeah, I think it'll be out for a hard afternoon, but I think we'll get something.
Okay. Yeah, Swansea turn into kingmakers now, don't they? You're going to have a massive say actually on who actually does go down in the next over the next three games. But no, generally we are delighted for you. Next week we're going to be reviewing obviously the final away game of the season and final home game of the season in the next couple of weeks. On this week we are looking at the players out of contract. And we're going to discuss with you, Rich, and get your opinions on those. First of all, we're going to talk about the loan players which you've currently got. What's your view on how they performed, and who would you be breaking the bank, if any, to get over the line as a permanent signing for August?
Right, loan players. Well, they've kind of faded out a little bit as the season's gone by, apart from my player of the season and probably will be player of the season, Carl Rushworth in goals. Would break the bank for him, but he's just going to cost too much. And I think his general progression is going to be they'll be looking to get a Premier League team for him next year. If not, someone will come in. I would have thought with a bit of cash.
Price about
Very.
3 million a year. Is that not unreasonable for Swansea to spend that amount on a goalkeeper?
I haven't heard that kind of figure at all, so I don't know really. He's under contract for a bit, so it would be tough to get him at that price. But if that is true, I'd love to.
It's on transfermarket.com, which we'll have a look at more in a second.
Just depending on
Value
wages as
within
well, I think is a big player in that one. You think after a good season, a top championship side at the very least would be, going through maybe someone coming down from the Premier League. But he's still young, so it shows how good he has been for him to be in that mix to be player of the season. Other than that, loans, Harrison Ashby's been a bit of a fail, really. Didn't really happen for him since coming from Newcastle. The Arsenal boys didn't really work. Patino started okay, and then he hadn't started the game since January. He's come on a few times. Williams clearly doesn't fancy him. I think his fitness concerns there. Sego Jr. came in on loan, nothing really from him. So I think generally speaking, they've helped along the way. but it just hasn't really happened there. And I think we're just building. We need some more players in. There's a lot of work to be done in the summer.
Yeah, you've got a large number, haven't you, out of contract to the end of the year. Let's have a walk through them first of all, shall we? So first of all, thank you to transfermarket.com for allowing us to use this. Liam Cullen, let's go straight in with it. Out of contract in June.
I think Liam Cullen's made it pretty clear that he wants to stay. You know, I doubt that'll be too much problems once we get to the summer. Now the club are in talks. I think that one will get over the line. He's young, he's hungry. You know, say 24 is a perfect age for us in our rebuilding. We will have to get some more strikers in, but I think Liam Cullen, yeah, he'd be definitely somebody who'll be there next season.
You then got an aging midfield in Jamie Patterson and Joe Allen, also out of a contract. What's your thoughts on those two?
Allen, particularly, again, we need the experience. Local lad again, so I think you would have thought he'd be looking at the coaching setup as well in the future. So if not already doing his badges now, I would have thought. I think the club will offer him something. He's proved his worth, and I think he's proved his fitness in the last part of the season. I think is the main area there. It's just how you manage those wages in the squad. So, but I think he'll be there. Patterson's had a good season, which, you know, he was out of favour with Russell Martin for long periods of time, but he's come in and done really well. But at 32, is he going to be looking himself for a big deal somewhere else, one last little pay? I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. I would say that would be a maybe.
Yeah, and then what else we got? Liam Walsh, Kyle Norton, of course, Placheta.
Right, Kyle Norton, I think, will be very much compared to what he wants to take us in terms of his wages. He'd be welcome to stay. You know, he's played so many games for the club, and you know, over 10 years he's been there. So, 100%, I think he'd be staying if he's willing to take maybe a pay cut. Liam Walsh, for me, is so many injury concerns over him. You know, he hasn't played enough games. Every manager seems to like him. You know, they all seem to be raving about him getting on the pitch. I can't see it myself, really, for him. So, not sure. Plaquette has been great, but it's a case of we've got Josh Giannelli probably back from his long-term injury next season. So, will that be two players into one sharing the wages there? So, I would say yes for the performances he's made, but maybe not, considering we've got two players into one position there, and he might need to strengthen elsewhere.
And what position is your number one transfer target? I know we've talked about strikers all season, but is that the must-have by the time we sit and talk in August again?
Well, it's tricky really to have a look at what you need to spend money in several areas because we're losing so many players and there's players out of contract next year. But everyone wants a striker. Yes, we'll have to get somebody in up front, but that'll mean that we also have to probably sell Jerry Yates. And at the moment, he's not had a great year, but if you can get a bit of money for him, that could free up a bit of funds elsewhere. But midfield is a priority for me. We've got Matt Grimes, who's, plays every game pretty much. He doesn't miss hardly any games. And I think there's no competition for him as well. I think he's a big part. But playing with him, Jay Fulton, don't think has really hit the standards he hit last year. And we need someone a bit more creative in there as well. So I think centre midfield will be a big priority, and then a striker, and then obviously it depends on the wing positions as well. We're going to need somebody else to take the burden off Ronaldo. Ronaldo's been outstanding since January, but as teams are starting to find out how to play him, they're putting two men on him. We need someone on the other side to be helping him out as well, give us that balance.
All right then. Busy summer then for Swansea, but you've got faith in the manager now, haven't you? There is togetherness about the club where I think we've been speaking all year. There has been that fractious energy, I think, around the stadium. Michael Duff and all the hoo-ha around the owners. Where does that sit now in terms of fans' togetherness and feelings towards the directors of Swansea City?
Well, I think it's a big thing really about putting some money in and really committing to some transfers this summer and not really showing that it's going right to the deadline day to get players in. It seems a bit rushed. We want a plan. We want to see a bit of intent in the strategy. I'm sure Luke Williams knows exactly what he wants to do at the moment. He knows the positions he wants. He knows the players he probably wants to keep. Let's get that done now. Show a bit of sign of intent, and that also attracts some other players to come as well. It comes in circles, so it's very frustrating for a fan to watch a side when you don't know. You're looking at renewing season tickets, for example. How are you supposed to do that when half the team's supposed to be leaving? It's not much to get excited about. So I think it'll roll on together. And I think really the board have to make big effort at really getting the fans on board in the summer now.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, Richard. Really appreciate it. Let's briefly talk about Huddersfield Town then. In the reverse fixture earlier this year, as you've kind of already highlighted, it was a 1-1 draw at your place. Not the best of performances from your boys. Do you expect what sort of game do you expect this season? I mean, I have to put money on it now. I'd probably hedge for a Huddersfield Town win, given that they need it more. Any danger that the foot off the gas could happen?
Well, Williams doesn't want the foot off the gas. He's made it clear he wants to continue, but it's a long trip up north. We will have, like I was kind of sent in earlier, we're going to have a lot of possession. They like to sort of stifle the attacks out and look to break and maybe get something from a set piece, perhaps. I can't see there being many goals in it, but I think they'll fight for everything. And like the first goal will be very crucial. A big, strong, powerful team Huddersfield are, and they'll look to interrupt the midfield particularly. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a long afternoon, probably not the best watch.
I can't agree with you on that one. I might give it a swerve. All right. Right. If you're a Swansea City fan, I'd love to hear your comments below on whether you think any of the out of contract players should be given the marching orders, should not be given any extra contracts, free up some wages perhaps on some of the more expensive and long serving team, or should actually we be breaking the bank for Patino and others. Really interested to hear your comments. So comment below. Thanks, Richard. Well done again. We can breathe. We'll see Swansea again next season in the Championship. And thanks for joining us on this one. Join us next week to say where we are previewing the final 2 games of the season and looking at the history of Swansea at home this season and Swansea away this season, which won't take very long, will it? That's the final one. Thanks, Richard, and thanks for joining us.
See you.